Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of the Walking Dead television series. This is for Season 8, Episode 10, The Lost and the Plunderers. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen this episode for The Walking Dead Season 8 yet, you'll definitely want to watch it before you watch this review. So, this week's episode went a lot how we kind of predicted or thought that it would go. They kind of let the cat out of the bag early on this one with the trailers. So, if you guys have been subscribed to the channel for a while, if you've been following the videos for a while, and you've seen a lot of the predictions videos that I've done and things like that after the breakdown of the trailers and that, they kind of showed during the mid-season premiere trailer and kind of when they were getting us ready for this second half, we got to see the junkyard with lots of walkers in it, and they were dressed, like the junkies. So we knew this was going to happen, right? We knew that during this episode we were going to see this. We saw all the pictures, all the preview stuff. So they kind of, it was a big, huge thing that happened in this episode, and they let it out early. So a lot of it was shocking to see, but it wasn't that shocking because we kind of knew what they were going to do anyway, and we kind of knew what had to happen. We saw basically all the heapsters or the junkyard group dead. We saw them as zombies, so we knew that something was going to happen. That was kind of cool at the end when Jadis uses the compactor, whatever that contraption is, to grind them all up. And you see these guts coming through. So definitely they had the gore in this one. And it was kind of a mixed episode for me. So there's parts of the episode that I loved and I thought, just oh my god, holy shit type of reaction to, which was everything at the junkyard, which I thought was crazy to see all the way through, and definitely would be the standout for this episode. But they also mixed in, a few other storylines at the same time. You had the stuff with Aaron and Enid at the Oceanside, which personally I didn't like at all. It just felt so weird to me. We also had, I think this episode was directed by David, let's see here, David Boyd, is that right? He's been directing Walking Dead forever, since the second season. His first episode was in The Walking Dead Season 2, it was Secrets. And he gets, it sounds to me like he gets a lot of kind of the fillery episodes. So he got like Secret Season 2. Let's see, Season 3 had Arrow on the Doorpost. He did have Internment, which is probably the best episode I think he's probably directed in the Walking Dead series. He had Strangers from Season 5. He had Heads Up from Season 6. So, he has had some good episodes. Service from Season 7, if you guys remember that one. But a lot of the episodes that he has, I would say, are kind of a filler type of episodes. And this one, it had a very filler feel to it for me, even though it shouldn't have, because we basically saw the entire junkyard group wiped out, except for Jadis in this episode. It should not have had a filler feel to it, but it did, at least for me anyway. And when I was watching, that could just be me. I've been feeling a little bit sick this week, so I don't know, maybe that has an effect on it. But I'm watching this episode through, and everything I'm seeing with at the Oceanside, where they kind of say, Cindy, they're thinking about killing Aaron and Enid, and they quickly flop on that, decide, okay, they're not going to do that. Aaron decides he's going to go back and try to talk them into doing this. So we'll probably see them back in the finale. That's my prediction anyway, is that they're going to say no, and then they'll just show up later on to help out Rick and the others as part of the battle here as we get ready for kind of the final battle during All Out War, which most likely will happen in the next few episodes closer to the end of this season. So that's episode 9 and 10 for this half. So we still have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we still have a ways left to go for this half, and it's kind of getting things set up for the big final battle already with that, and probably bringing the Oceanside back in later. But they also had kind of the names of each characters they were switching between. So you had like Simon, Enid, and it would say, like, as you're going through, it would say blatantly who it was that you're following, kind of like if you're reading a book, like if you're reading like a chapter or something, and you see each point of view character, which is okay most of the time. The problem is, for me, it doesn't fit with Walking Dead at all, because they've never done that before. So that's kind of, you can take, I feel like you can take some, you could take some liberties with a series and change things a little bit to each episode to have it kind of be unique for each director, for each person who's doing it. But you don't want to make the style so different that it doesn't feel like you're watching Walking Dead anymore. It feels like you're watching something else. And I got a little bit of that during this episode. It just felt out of place to me. It felt like it didn't match with what they usually do. Like, if you're going to do it, you kind of have to do it all the time, I think. It has to be like a running type of theme throughout the series rather than just to kind of throw it in one episode, versus all the other episodes don't look like that and they don't have that. So that was a little weird. So I'm very mixed emotions about this episode. I really didn't like the stuff of the Oceanside. I really didn't like how Enid kind of has this attitude, and how, like, Natanya, like, she's saying that she forced her to, she had to kill her, this kind of thing, and she forced her to, and everything. Is like, what? I don't know. It was strange to me, and we did kind of need to get caught up with them and what was happening with their story, because we hadn't seen what has been going on with them for a while. It has been a little while. We did kind of need some kind of an update, and it went just how you would think that it would have, except for kind of us finding out that Cindy is now kind of the leader of the Oceanside. And so right now they're not willing to help. Enid is going to go back, and Aaron is going to stay, apparently. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. I didn't really care for everything regarding them in this episode with the Oceanside. It just felt so weird to me, and I just was like, especially Enid's attitude, because the way she was acting given the set of circumstances, that she just kind of killed their leader. She's lucky that they're going to let her survive, and yet she's kind of, I don't know, bitching at him? Kind of like being strong, like trying to strong arm him is the way I would say. It shouldn't make it a male versus female thing. I could do the same thing. But, trying to strong arm them into telling them what to do when she just did something she really should not have done. So I don't know, man. It just felt so weird to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like all the stuff with the Oceanside in this one. So let's just leave it at that. The other stuff. Okay, so we start with Rick and Michonne. We see them in Alexandria. We have kind of the continuation of what happens after the death of Carl. We get to see Carl's kind of grave, or final resting place. And you see, Rick kind of puts the gun on the cross that they made for him, which was cool. And then he kind of takes it off, maybe thinking like, okay, I'll keep this with me. Or I don't know if there's any ammunition, but maybe it could be something that he might use later on. So he takes that with him. You've got kind of these zombies that are all around, causing chaos. Michonne staying busy, active in that, and them just realizing at some point that, okay, they're going to have to abandon ship and get out of there. So they leave, and they go to the junkyard. So the junkyard, we kind of get to see, again, sort of out of chronological order type of deal. You see Rick and Michonne kind of arrive there first in the episode, which was fine. I like to see that. That was cool. I like when they do that. And to them, they're like, WTF, what the hell? And so they find out, basically from Jadis that these saviors killed them all. And we, of course, get to see that, too, from Simon's perspective. So first we have Simon and Negan, and they get the delivery from the hilltop, 38 more, right, stand down. So, now there's a strong, so Maggie trying to strong arm them into surrendering, which was pretty cool. So I like that. That was good. And, the nail gun with the box. So that was pretty cool. A zombie in the box special delivery, right? So that was sweet. And we pretty much get the sense now that the saviors are kind of down to really Negan's immediate group and Simon's part of them. Gavin's group is totally wiped out. We do have maybe a few others in there. Dwight has left to join our survivors, and so the saviors are kind of weakened quite a bit. So Simon is getting to the point now, and I like this one a lot. I thought this was really great with the decisions and everything they did, because Simon was always one that we saw, but we never really saw him lose it. He's always kind of been throughout the series. He's kind of been holding it in. He's kind of been holding it back. Just this, he's just getting fed up with everybody and how they're not listening to Negan and the saviors. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not following the rules. So for him, I really liked what they did with him in this episode, and he has to be the standout as a villain in this episode, I have to say, for The Walking Dead, because if you guys remember, we met him first in The Walking Dead season 6. We met him in the finale, or was it even maybe before the finale, but we, around that time, season 6 finale type of range, we kind of met Simon, we found out about him, and then he was kind of like, Negan's number 2, he kind of introduces Negan, right? So he feeds Negan, he gets everything set up, and he gives Negan the spotlight for him to kind of take over in the season 6 finale and season 7 premiere. But he's always kind of been in and around, and he's never really, it always seems like this has just kind of been building inside him, that he's kind of just getting really fed up with the direction Negan is taking here, and that he kind of, he wants to stick to the good old, plan that they have where they kill one, teach him a lesson, get him back in line. And Simon, I think he's starting to see, and maybe rightfully so, that with the war and everything that's been going on recently, especially the box of the 38, that they've actually captured. Simon is seeing at this point that I think this is like, he's probably thinking at this time that this is different. This is all at war. This is not the same as what they've dealt with before. This is something they've never really dealt with before, it looks like, where you have a total revolt and they're, winning or it's close. Maybe if you can say the Saviors are winning, maybe it's 55-45, but it's very, very close here with regards to this power struggle and who is actually winning the war at any given time. Whereas earlier on this season, the survivors had them pinned, like they were in bad shape, and they the Saviors almost died. They almost lost. They were able to kind of break themselves out, break their way out, and then retaliate. But the Saviors have not been having an easy time here. They have been having a really tough time dealing with Rick, the Hilltop, and the Kingdom, the joint survivor community. So Simon has basically had it at this point. He's tired of it, and he gets in the argument with Negan. Negan's still the boss. Negan's still in charge, so Negan tells him what to do, but Simon's just like, he doesn't do it, right? So, standout part for Simon, the biggest villain moment in the series for him. We see him go to the junkyard. He meets with Jadis, and you kind of knew what was going to happen before it happened, but once they turned the weapons over, I was just like, oh, shit. And then you have Simon, who he kind of goes on a bit of a killing spree. So he kills the one. Byron was his name, I think. And then there's the other one, was Tamia or something like that, right? So he kills Byron, and then he kills her, which those are kind of Jadis's, her top, I would say, people, or the people she likes the best, the standout members of the junkyard community. And then, you have Jadis, who just loses it on him, attacks him, and kind of embarrasses him in front of the group because she roughs him up a little bit, and she's a girl, right? So there's added humiliation factor to that for Simon, and he's just had it at this point. He's tired of everybody. He's tired of everybody fighting back, and I think he has lost belief in Negan's strategy here that this is going to work, and he basically forces everybody to light it up. So you see a few shots here, and you see a few things go, just kind of go nuts. But there was a lot of younger, people there in that group as part of the junkyard group. Nobody really, Gary and the others that are there, they don't disobey Simon. They go along with it. So they start firing, all their weapons and everything, and the junkyard group has given over their weapons. So it was a tragic moment for Jace. It was a tragic moment in the series where you see this whole thing kind of go down, and Simon just turned to total, sometimes he's fun, he can be kind of funny, he can be jokey around, but now we see like him and Gregory, for example, in the Hilltop earlier on, but now we get to see Simon when he totally has kind of lost it, and he's gone off the handle, and he just exterminates everybody. He just puts them all down, just very brutal. The scene probably could have been more honest to the situation that it was. It probably should have been better than it ended up being, for me anyway. As I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, like this is such a tragic moment, everything like that, and you can feel the loss for Jadis, you can feel that, but I feel like it should have been even naturally, maybe even more traumatic, even more dramatic to see just a whole group be wiped out. Because we haven't really, I'm trying to think like if we've ever seen that type of situation where like a whole group is wiped out. Like the governor, for example, when he becomes a team killer in season 3's finale, that's a pretty close comparison where you just see a whole bunch of people just get laid out. But that's one guy. This is like a firing squad, on the junkyard group. And they didn't show that much of it, or they didn't focus on that moment enough. I feel like that should have been something that maybe they did a little bit of slow-mo, a few things here and there, but I really feel like that was such a huge thing that was happening in the episode. It probably should have been spotlighted a little bit more. They should have maybe slowed that down even more, I don't know, some kind of slow motion reaction, even more than what it was. And they did a lot of this, but it was kind of like, okay, moving on. They tried to put a lot of things in the episode when that was something where I think really you should probably slow that down, because you could really see throughout the series, if you go back and watch these episodes with Rick and a lot of the others, you can see kind of how close it was for them when you see this episode. If Simon would have lost it on them, the whole group would be dead. The show would be over, because they would have killed everybody. So you can certainly feel for Jadis, and she's a character that's, going to get a lot of sympathy from people now. I would think people would probably like her more because she's lost so much. She's lost everything. Even to the point where I thought she might, commit suicide near the end of the episode there and just jump in herself too, I thought might be where they were going with this. But it seems that, no, that's not the case. And we'll have to see for her, just how she feels. Rick refuses to help her. So she comes out, she's ready to kind of go. Rick's creating a Captain America zombie apocalypse version made out of like a junk door, a car door. And they're kind of going through, and him and Michonne are fighting their way out. And he refuses to help her. Now, this is something where it's like, what are we seeing here? Are we seeing an origin for a solo kind of bad guy character out there? Is she going to resent Rick that he left her in her time of need? You'd think that she would, but also the fact that he kind of sort of talked her into doing this and kind of going back on his side, and then the Saviors were able to fight back, and now they were able to wipe out her entire group. So is she going to be more wanting vengeance against Simon, or is she going to be more wanting vengeance maybe against Rick because he was a part of this whole situation that made this whole thing happen? Interesting stuff, and I am looking forward to seeing what they do with her in the future, because I think it could go either way, and it's kind of an open book there as far as what they want to do. But I did kind of feel like Rick should help her. It kind of feels more like he's kind of fed up with her. He just wants her to go away. He's just tired of this whole thing and people screwing up and things not going well for him in this all-out war. So he just kind of shoots above her head, tries to chase her off. And Michonne even kind of calls him out on it, that it's kind of like what Carl was saying, that, maybe we should have helped, at least had her come with us, and if she got caught or something and the zombies got her, whatever, but we should have at least let her come with us, because she is totally alone now. And, it's just like, you got to feel sorry for her after what she's just gone through. So that was one thing. And then we have kind of the conversation by the walkie-talkies with Rick and Negan, which, was pretty good as well, too. It was intense as it should be. The discussion about Carl. Carl did write a letter for Negan, so we got that confirmation that he did. And eventually, I'm thinking that will be, Negan will eventually get the letter. Negan does feel remorseful for what happened here, but he blames Rick for it. And you kind of get a little bit of trolling back and forth with walkie-talkies of them talking crap back to each other. Rick just kind of saying a few times he's going to kill Negan, and Negan kind of going back, kind of putting the blame on him, that it's his fault. Because if they just gone, with everything, then this many people would not have died, and everything would have been, a lot better. So, interesting stuff for the last couple scenes. And I want to say, scenes in between here as well, too. But I would say that's basically it for the episode. So, in terms of my thoughts on the episode, it probably should have been better than it turned out to be, I guess, is the way I'm kind of feeling about this one. I'm still going to give it an 8.4 because you still see a huge scene in the series where you see an entire group just eliminated like that, instant, like firing squad type of situation, which was crazy to see for Simon. And the other question is Negan going to find out what Simon did, and how is he going to respond if he does find out, if someone tells him? Is he going to kill Simon or something? Is he going to blame him? Is he going to, I don't know, man. But he better watch it, because I think Simon is getting to the point now where he's probably close to revolting against Negan even. So we'll have to see, like the question of whether or not is he still loyal to him. He's kind of getting away with this. He's got the blue on his shoe and everything. So he's marked man, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what they do with this. So those are kind of my thoughts on the episode. A bit of a mixed bag for episode 10, but a memorable one because of what happened at the junkyard with the junkyard group, for what it's going to do with Simon. And I really am thinking right now at this point, Simon will probably be killed off at the end of the season, I'm thinking. So that'll be it for my review, guys. A mixed episode for me, but I did enjoy it still. It's just that there were some things here that I thought probably should have been better, felt more epic than they did, be more better than they ended up being, and other parts that I just thought felt very strange. So that was me. Write your comments below. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode. I'll be back, of course, in half an hour to an hour for my predictions for episode 11. And if you guys like this review, as per usual, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do so. Subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video in about an hour. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. See you guys soon. Well, I hope you're wearing your subscribing pants. What? Your subscribing pants. Because you're going to subscribe to this channel wearing those pants.